everybody, and welcome back again. I hope you enjoyed last Thursday. I know I did. It was a fantastic show. It was good, and it was good to be here with you. We're so honored, as every week, that you allow us to come into your home. We thank you for watching BEETV Network. We thank you for emailing us, writing us. And remember to go to our website if you have a story, to fnfministries.org. Tell us about it. If you know someone who needs to share their story and who's just choosing to win, remember, we want to hear from you. Today is not going to disappoint you. We have one of the young men that I have watched emerge from a young man who has done some great things. And we're going to allow you to tell him this one more thing that God has added to his belt to do. He has done some great things in the community, in the surrounding areas of the southeastern Alabama, and he's been all over the world. Well, he has been all over the world. So allow me to welcome you, my friend, Torrance Rudd. Welcome. We're so honored to have you.
Thank you so much.
And your wife. You just looking like you just came out of over there in the cold. Man, when you just left. We're so glad to have you. I'm
so glad to be here. Such an honor to be here.
Well, tell us that next thing that God has added to you.
I am now the senior pastor of Power Chapel Ignite. The headquarters is in Ghana. We're up under Prophet Kusi Boateng, and Prophet Harold Moore is my spiritual father. He's in Watler, Georgia, and he's over Power Chapel Oasis. So I'm honored to be here today, and I'm honored to stand and say that I have accepted the call of God on my life.
Well, stay over there though. So I'm glad to have you. That is so amazing. I watched your footage and y'all's videos and y'all's pictures, and how it was so amazing over there. So I did say it right, worldwide. You have been. What kind of experience was that over there in that part of the country? Because we have an elder at our church who went with you guys, Dexter Baker.
Yes.
And he was just talking about how it changed him.
Right.
And he brought some things back to our church that we have sown into in his vision in that. So tell me, what did it do for you to go over there?
It did change me. It's very humbling. You know, because the part we went to is third world country, so it's poverty. Right. But the power of God is prevalent over there. They believe God on a different level than we do here in America, because we're comfortable over here. And I've said all the time that sometimes good or comfort is the enemy of great.
That's great. You're speaking to me now.
They have to depend on God for the next meal, the next season, the next whatever it is. So they have the spirit of prayer, and so. It changed my life as far as to see how they pray. We pray over here, but no, they actually live in the presence of God. You know, they sacrifice their time, they sacrifice fun to go and seek God, because they know that their life depends on it.
Oh, wow. So Felix and I, my husband, the good deacon, we have now started, we have always prayed, but we've all now started, the fasting together and the praying together before we even do anything, and it has really changed our life. Nothing like what you're talking about, but it does. So I can only imagine when you seek God in such a way, what it does for you and how it changes you. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, because we got to find a way to get people back to the presence of God. Because with social media and all that, we have to be very honest with what we're dealing with. The spirits that are behind the phones and the spirit. People don't realize that spirits are real. And when you infiltrate them in your eyesight, they get in your mind. And they make you do all kind of crazy things that you would have never even thought of.
I preached about this very thing today.
What did you talk about?
I talked about the power of your mind.
Right.
And that's where the enemy hits you at, in your mind. If you want to stop you, want to defeat you, he gets you here. And God gave us several scriptures to show us how to think. Philippians chapter 4:8, he says, think on things that are lovely, things that are just, things that are pure, of good report. If there any virtue, think on these things. A lot of people are going through in their mind first. And people speak, death and life in the power of the tongue. People speak what they think. So your world is a direct example of what you think and then what you speak.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you're absolutely right. My children growing up, I was a good mom. I think I did the best I could, but my words have started to change. Because when you're upset, you say stuff that you regret, but you don't realize it has taken on its own mind that's out there in the universe. And so as uncomfortable it has become, because I love my son and I think the best of him, But the fear of not wanting them to get harmed, you say stuff to stifle their growth. We went through something, and we won't talk about what it really was here, but when my son was, and I'll have to be honest, he was treated in a way that we see on TV. And I didn't even, okay, so I empathize when people's sons go through things. I have felt bad. Oh my God, that never should have happened, because you see it. But until you have lived it, you have no idea what the experience of it is. And we are gonna do a docuseries with young men coming up soon, me and D. Mosley. And so we'll tell you more about that. But I was thinking about, as I was approaching that situation, because somebody followed him home to say some ugly things, came in our yard. And so I'm out there trying to intervene, because to hear him call my name as a mother, you want to talk about fear. But I was so disappointed in Frankie at the end when we began to unpack what happened as a family. I was more concerned about his life being saved and nobody harming him, that I totally neglected that this person was wrong. And so my mind is trained by social media about black men getting killed and about how these people are superior and how they can do these things. My mind was trained to just say, okay, Devin, I know they're wrong, but right now I don't want anything to happen to you, so let's just minimize this situation. And that's not fair to him.
Right.
So you're on it. Our minds have trained us how to live our next. So tell me about some things that changed in your mind about your next since you've come from over there.
So one of the things I was sharing with our church today is my life. There was a point in my life where I thought nothing good would happen for me.
Oh, wow.
Even when good things did happen, I thought that something bad would follow. Not realizing, in Colossians, there's a scripture that says that learn your Creator and your thoughts will be established.
Oh, wow.
There's a scripture that says, whatever you commit your works to the Lord, Proverbs 16:3, whatever you commit to the Lord, your thoughts will be established. So I didn't realize that just because the way I thought would attract different things to me. As a man thinketh, so is he in his heart. And so I didn't realize that me thinking like this was actually producing what I was getting. So yes, something would go good for me, and because I thought that bad was going to follow it, bad things would happen.
Wow.
I thought that good things I wasn't good enough. I didn't know that I had this insecurity in me. And so when I began to dive into the word and find out what God said about me, that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, I'm the head and not the tail, I'm above and not beneath, and meditate on those things, it began to change my thought, and it began to change me outwardly.
Oh, you're just so amazing that you would say that. Because fear is a part of that. I think fear creates that alliance.
Yes.
The fear of not just failure, but the fear of success. Like, what would happen? Why would that happen for me? You know, I tell people all the time. A few moments ago, I was at church with somebody, and I wanted to share something with her, and she was like, "Can you be my coach?" Because I've started, and I call it life coach because I coach kids and not physical coaching, but as well as adults. But I had to free my mind. But I wanted us to be, she didn't even see herself worthy of me approaching her. She was like, I can't believe you even, what do you mean you can't believe? You're so wonderful.
Right.
And why can't we see let me tell you why we can't see how wonderful we are. Because we don't have enough Frankie Bells telling, bruh, I listen to your song every morning. If you did it for me, he'll do it for you.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah,
so I want to tell you this. When I first released that song, If You Did It For Me, and you was posting it several times on Facebook and you tagged me, that did something for me.
Oh, wow.
I want to let you know that was very encouraging, because as an artist doing gospel music or gospel rap that's not traditional, you don't get a lot of people who are pillars in the community or who actually have a platform that actually openly support us. And so that's big for me.
Listen, and not only do I run to it every day, it's on repeat.
Okay.
I mean, when I tell you, like, I'll go to some other things if I need to worship God, but when I'm working on my time, I put that song in because it has a good beat and it keeps me flowing. I'm so used to it. I know how long my mile is going to take. I know when I'll be finished. I know how many of those songs I'm going to hear before I end my run.
Wow.
And so when I'm telling you, we don't know our worth because we receive what people don't like or about themselves. So I'm not going to say we receive what they don't like about us. we receive what they don't like about themselves that they point out in us. And we go find, reasons to validate their negativity.
Right.
We do that. So as a pastor, you have a platform, you're in front of people. You're a rapper. You're doing great things. You want to be like your dad, but he could sing and you rap, and you can sing too. So I don't know who told you that because you're.
Well, at the time, I have a story behind that too.
Okay. So,
yeah, at the time I didn't have it.
so, but I don't know. You found it somewhere, and so and we got to talk about before we leave how to go get your material. So now you're a pastor, and you come from God, and you've really blessed me with that about the mindset, because I've been thinking about that all week, and I haven't even really shared that much about it with my son, but that's why the docuseries is coming, because we have parents who we just want them to come home. Like, we don't want to let them know, like Devin don't understand, because see, Devin raised by Frankie. He didn't have the damage that Frankie had. Well, he did get some of it because you have to unlearn some behavior.
Right.
So I didn't say there at times when I was so strict, he was thinking I didn't want to go anywhere. I just didn't want anything to happen to him. And sometimes when you're raising kids, there's no real book on how to do it. And the books that are out there are from people who ain't never had kids.
Right.
But I was so like, why did I send him the message that what happened to him was okay? Because I'm too busy going, just calm down, Devin. No, don't calm down, Devin. Bro, get out of here. Which, we do know that this is Frankie, and he got gone in a very non-spiritual way. But... and I said some things that if he would record me, go and put it out there. I don't care. I'd be like, say it every minute, every word. Right. And I asked God, because I did deal with that too, though, because he called me a racist name, and I called him an ugly name back. And I said, Lord, I've been called racist name before. Why did that bother me? He said, "Cause you mess with D-Bell, as you call him, and something about your children,
Right?
That they can bring the worst out you."
I believe that transparency is amazing, and this is more of what people need to see. As we was talking about earlier about why kids or young people, or why some people are straying away. It's a lot of times leadership is not transparent.
Right.
There's an atmosphere that's been created to make people think just because you're a pastor or leader that you don't actually deal with human emotions.
Right.
And that's not true. We're humans just like everybody else. We just accepted the call of God, and we're trusting God in this process.
Well, we know, and I think that's why I going back to a mindset, not having a strong foundation, never could understand why so many people. I went to Troy yesterday for a funeral, but while I was there, I could be at a funeral and God will send me people. The woman there, who has a big position, I won't call her name yet because it's not time for that, wants to partner with me with some things, and she kind of runs the whole city. And the old me would be going home going, why she chose me? Well, I'm learning to embrace that part of me, because you gotta let those old thoughts go away.
Yeah.
Frankie, she know everything. You say it in a funny way. Well, I am a very intelligent person. You are a good rapper. You do good works. Why isn't it okay for us to let young people see that it's okay to embrace your talents?
Right.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Because the church takes scriptures out of context. Pride comes before a fall.
Right.
That ain't pride. That's showing you the gifts that God has given me.
Exactly.
If your church is going to do well, all of a sudden it's not that you're prideful, because you're thanking God for doing it, being true to His word.
That's good.
He told you, if you just trust me, I will put your name before great men.
Right.
Well, why is it when it comes before a great man, we get all shy and bothered?
That's right.
Because the people in church done told us that we ain't supposed to be happy about a blessing.
That's right.
And I'm not talking about all churches, because our pastor, and you, I'm sure, he lifts us all the time.
Right.
But that's what we need to let the young people know, that we are human.
Right.
You said it best. We deal with human things. We ain't got a burning bush on top of our head.
Right.
And I'm a Peter now, ain't a John. If you met with me, I ain't gonna lay at your bosom now. I might cut the ear off and pray it back on.
Exactly.
So
right.
what do you think? You're so good in that. How do we get that to more leaders to see that we're losing our children? Yeah.
Now that in itself is pride. We say that you're trying to be humble, and because blessings coming your way, you should be excited about that. But pride is you not being able to be transparent about who you are, because you want somebody to perceive you to be who you want them to. A lot of time I find out the most people who are the most untransparent people are the most people who are going through stuff behind closed doors. You know, like I said, there's a way you should do things. Some people can't handle
Right.
seeing Dr. Bell. You know what I'm saying?
Preach, honey.
Some people can't handle seeing us in our transparent moment.
Right.
So there's a way to do everything.
anything.
But some people just need to hear, man, Pastor Rudd, you get upset, yes, I get upset, I get angry. I have thoughts that I shouldn't have, you know.
And I mean, let me back up and say something to you. That's what God has done for me. As He put you before different people and different platforms, you know what I've learned? He'll adjust you.
Yes.
I know, like I gotta go speak in Perito Beach. I know I was saying it wrong yesterday. I may be saying it wrong now, but I gotta go somewhere. But I do realize that group of business people, I can be up there putting the shout music on and taking my shoes off and dancing on the stage.
Exactly.
So I do get that God will put you before different groups of people. When I'm in a classroom or when I'm a principal at a school, I don't do the same conversation as I do. Now I'm me because He called me.
Right.
But as He elevates you, He will give you what you need to reach that platform that you're on at the moment. And He did that for you. Tell us about that first album, which was one of my favorite albums again. You said something a moment ago. You said you went back and listened to it, and what you said?
It was horrible. It's Life More Abundantly. I mean, the quality of it was horrible. The content was good, but the quality was, oh my God. I go back and listen to it now and cringe. And it was over 15 years ago. I cringe now going back and listen to that.
But you're talking about 15 years. Darren was telling me the other day, and I'm pointing over here because he's the guy that does all the production on this show. He said, Mama, I went back and saw one of our first shows. What in the world? So I get the growth, and I listen to people in place. I need to make sure we say that there is somebody in your life that has fostered you, or you getting your mind out of the box, or you going places. You got to get out of your hometown. You got to go places. The young lady that does my makeup, matter of fact, my son was the one. She is also on our production team. He said, Mama, you just do too much when you get here trying to make sure that you look okay. And this is a message in this. He said, just give Makia what you need to do to whatever she needs to do. And it's been such a relief when you use people in their lane. What happens is we try to be, my grandma used to call him a jack of all trades and a something of none. I can't remember, but somebody out there know the word. Master of none. And so like you try to do everything, and it's okay. I mean, I guess I did fine. I mean, anybody called me ugly, but it's called movement. It's called going to the next level, and that's what you've done. Power Chapel, Lady Rudd, tell me, what are her thoughts on how God is just shifting you all up so quickly?
She was very reluctant when, you know, I finally accepted. I was reluctant at first. I did not want to pastor. I did not want to pastor. You know.
Tell them again.
Yeah, a lot of people, sometimes you can see people and they're doing something, and you know, I can kind of hear people saying, you know, he's doing something else now. Pastoring wasn't on my agenda.
Detailing the cars was.
Yes.
Doing the music was.
Being an entrepreneur and doing music was my thing. I'm good. You know, I feel like I did my little good deed. If I talk to somebody at the store and I tell them about Jesus, hey, I'm good. And so
pastoring wasn't it?
No, pastoring was not. Although I know we talked about this earlier, I did have, over the course of my life, people told me that one day I would pastor, but that wasn't in mind. But I can't say I've always been a leader in every aspect, even when I was in school.
And so is your son. I was his principal.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much for what you've done to him, by the way. But let me continue, because we're gonna get off track. So I was very reluctant. I still wanted to do me. I still had some things I wanted to do. And what I'm saying is, when God called me, I knew that there was gonna be another level of commitment. You have a commitment. You know, when you engage, you have a commitment.
Right.
But when you get married, it's different. So I knew that God was requiring more of me. So I reluctantly said yes. And so for the first tidbits, I was still reluctantly, but I was like, okay, God, I'm still gonna do it. And my mind, God began to change my heart, change my mind. Now, Lady Rudd, on the other hand, she was not. She didn't want no part of it.
Because everybody judge her in you, in your kid,
right? Everything.
In your mama,
yep,
your dog. They just, look at that dog. He barking. He got a pastor for owner. And look how he barking that folk. That dog ain't. That's the devil.
Yeah.
You know, people just judge everything.
Right.
So I get it. I need you to really let people understand. It was the level of commitment that
Yeah.
you had some things that you wanted to still do.
Yeah, like I could. Yeah, so there's a bigger microscope scope on you now. So not saying that I was out here just living reckless, but still, now it gets political.
Yeah.
I'll say that, and people. So for instance, I had a friend of mine that told me that somebody asked him, said, "Hey, do you think Rudd been called to preach?" Little stuff like that. But I don't let it bother me. So, but Lady Rudd. Man, God has done a major thing in our life, in our ministry. When we actually said yes, and then when we actually meant it from our heart, God does the rest. He does. Obedience is the key. Obedience.
I know that is so. Let's talk about how God comes around full circle. Knew you 15 years ago, and met your wonderful son. We were talking about him very much, and the reason why I brought him up is because he was one of the ambassadors when I was principal. Just a very good quality kid, who. That has to be difficult for him once. Well, everybody in his family walk on water though, ain't it? Like his grandma was
his great grandma,
So he's a blessing, Lord.
Yeah.
So how is it for him with that? I know he's your biggest.
He's a leader. He's a leader. He is, when you have your kids, people are like, well, you biased, but he's a phenomenal person.
Well, I'm biased too because he's awesome. I was his principal, so I know.
And you also tutored him for his ACT.
I did.
Thank you so much.
He's done a fantastic job. He was so excited about his scores.
Yes.
And so I don't take any credit for that. And a lot of people are like, well, you got to take credit for it. No, because God does something so magical. But what I want people to know about the ACT is it doesn't just give them a score. It gives them some courage. It prepares them for college.
Right.
We never talk about the score when we're in the meetings. We talk about how their study habits change, how they're preparing them for college. And so now he's seeing that and how it's going to be kind of tough. He's prepared. So I thank you for allowing me to be a part of it.
No, I thank you for being selfless with these children. And there are actually some people who don't care, some people who just don't know. And what you have done for my son is, he plays football. We want him to get an athletic scholarship, but even if he don't, he's going to get an academic scholarship.
Yeah, there you go. You see, and so that's where God just. So that's why I can't be a pastor. Let God know, so we can do the ACT. But I want to just tell us more. Tell them how to find your church. We don't want to end with that.
So right now we're having service at the Valley Sportsplex. The address is 130 Sportsplex Drive, Valley, Alabama. And we have service at 10 a.m. Eastern every Sunday morning, and we have Bible study at 7 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday. And we'd love to have you. We actually go live as well Sunday morning at 10 a.m. So if you don't have a church home, we'd love to have you. If you need prayers, we'll be glad to pray for you.
Also, tell them how to get that CD that I play over and over every day.
So now nobody people no longer do CDs.
I'm Apple Music. Why do I keep saying CDs?
If you listen to music digitally, you can look me up anywhere there's music. Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, whatever else that you can play music. YouTube, I have music everywhere by the grace of God.
And I do not have a CD player. I just keep saying CDs. But I downloaded you off my Apple Music. Yeah. And I do have an iPhone. But I just wanted to tell you, I am just so honored with what God is doing. No, you didn't want to be a pastor, but look at you doing it gracefully.
Now I love it now.
Right. And you're doing a good job at it. What's next for Pastor Rudd, the church, any more trips? Tell us about that. What's next?
Well, as of now, I'll go to Ghana every year, but I'm planning on taking people with me.
Oh wow!
You should consider it.
Deacon Bell sitting right over there in the corner. He know we ready to look. He's if I get an okay from the good deacon, it's a done deal.
Y'all should consider it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's a good trip.
It is. So we got that. There's something you said before we end this session. What is the biggest component we're missing in church right now?
I think it's love.
Right.
Paul says to owe no man nothing but to love him.
Correct.
And Jesus told the disciples, because religion teaches you to keep rules.
Right.
And there was over 630 something Levitical laws.
Right.
Moses went to the mountain, and God gave him the 10 Commandments.
Right.
Because there were 630, you can't keep them.
No.
And so now, today, we couldn't keep 600, we couldn't keep those, so we try to keep the 10. And we still struggling at the 10.
We fell in that.
So Jesus said, listen, if you love God with all your heart, all your might, all your strength, and love your neighbor as you love yourself,
yes,
you have fulfilled all of these laws.
Yes.
Love is what will keep us from sinning. Love is what will keep us from hurting each other, keep us from gossiping about each other, backbiting about each other, and judging each other.
And I tell you what, and when my nephew allowed me to interview him, we're going to talk about what love does. It just did so much for he and our relationship, and he brought it to me. It just made me a better person. And one day, and I asked him, I said, please come on my show. He's like, I'm not ready yet. Auntie, he has a powerful story. Everybody knows about my sister passing, and she gifted me with her children. And she could have gifted me with her dishes, but whatever. She gifted me with her children. I'm glad to have them, even though, but Marcus is the one that taught me about love. And young people need to understand that it is love, because my school used to know I said love is the answer, no matter the question.
Right.
It doesn't matter what the question is. The answer is love. And if you love God with all your heart, with all your mind, and love thy neighbor as thyself, the other things, you won't have to worry about doing those other things.
That's right.
And I just want to tell you that I'm proud of you, that I'm so glad to be able to watch you. I know you said that they can come to your service, but you're on live. And what's your page that your live show's on? Is it just your
Facebook?
name?
Yeah, we go live from my personal page.
Okay.
My name on Facebook is Torrance Rudd.
Okay.
TORRANCERUDD.
And you also have the detail shop here in, are you mobile?
I'm mobile,
detail?
yeah, I'm mobile. So
and how would they find that?
Passion 360 mobile detailing.
Passion 360 also is videography and photography.
Yeah. So I do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So what is the number they can reach you at? Because we'll play it at the bottom.
706-773-3228. If you need prayer, if you need your car washed, or if you need some pictures.
We got
Call the
you.
same number.
If he did it for me.
He can do it for you.
Same God.
Same God.
Right now. That's my boy. That's my song. I'm telling you. I'm going to the car right now. I'm going to put it on for Deacon Bear. So
Listen, but I got new music now, Dr. Bell.
Yeah, but you know, I don't like change. I'm a teacher. No, I'm just playing. You give me I know you have new music. We've talked about this. You've tried to convince me to get the other. Show me where to go down.
I'll send you the link.
But I'm telling y'all, the words, if he did it for me.
He can do it for you.
That's it. That's what I listen for. See what I'm saying? See the 30 minutes gone? You're awesome. I know it's hard to believe. A lot of energy. Love you so much.
Love you. Thank you so much for having me.
Keep doing what you're doing. Guys, that's it. We're so honored to have the pastor here, the good pastor and the good wife. He already walking with the hand of Jesus. Lord, don't forget, go to Torrance Rudd page. Go to, we don't have any CDs, but go to Apple Music, download him, listen to his stuff. I promise you.
Google me.
Yeah, Google him.
Yeah.
If you are a runner, you will be able to run with his music, and it'll brighten your day. Thank you so much for watching. We're so glad, as always, that you tuned in. And I say this over and over again. If you only get one decision, just one. When you wake up in the morning, you make that decision, and you choose to win. Until next time, bye.